Good day, my esteemed viewers. My name is Folahan Oyelekon. I'm a teacher and examiner of literature and English. I'm also an author and publisher of literature and English materials. I want to share some vital points with us today. It is titled How to Demystify Poetry. We all know that poetry is a genre of literature that poses a lot of problems to students and even some teachers to interpret. It's not easy interpreting or appreciating a poem. It's not like a drama or prose. A literature student can easily read or drama text on his own or her own and at least have some idea of what the author is trying to pass across to us. But poetry is not like that. I have some points here that can help us to demystify poetry, that can help us to solve the problem of appreciating poetry. The first one is that we study the life history of the poets. You see, majority of these writers, be it a poet, a novelist, or a playwright, most of them write on their experiences, what they have experienced in the past. For example, now, a poem from South Africa, majority of the poems are, the subject matter of poems from South Africa is on racial discrimination. So, any poem from South Africa, the first idea we have at the back of our mind is that the subject matter will be racial discrimination. And poem from Sierra Leone, poem from Sierra Leone is majorly based on the war that took place between 1991 and 2002. And if you look at this poem written by Umar Farouk Sise, that is the song of the women of my land. It is based on that war that took place in Sierra Leone. So when we study the life history of a poet, we might have the idea of what the poem is going to be about. That is the subject matter of the poem. So their works are majorly based on what happened around them. Number two, find meaning to the difficult words. Finding meaning to the difficult words in the poems will draw us near to the understanding of the discourse. Some words used may even be name of places. This meaning will take us to the poetic meanings. Identify some difficult words in the poems and try to know the meaning. So through that, you have the idea of what the poet is trying to pass across to us. Even in some poems, you might think that a word in the poem is an English vocabulary. It might be the name of a place. So if you check it, if you try finding meaning to such a word, it will help us in interpreting the poem. Now, number three, identify the poetic devices. By identifying the poetic devices in a poem and understanding them, the discourse of the poem is simplified. These devices are the major ingredients of poetry, and they make the understanding of the poems difficult. We only need to relate it to the subject matter. We try and identify the poetic devices, the figures of speech and other poetic devices that are used in the poems. When we understand this, it makes us to understand the message of the poem. So when we do this, we see that our problem in answering poetry questions, our problem in appreciating poems is a little bit solved. It draws all nearer to the message of the poem. We'll be able to appreciate the poem and understand what the poet is trying to put across to us. Now, these guidelines are used in writing my book. That is Simplify Poetry.